Hey guys, ThunderClan Gaming here, bringing you a good or food guide. So a few days ago, I checked on Reddit, and then there was a post saying how there hasn't been any updated good or food guide. So yeah, I feel like there are a few new monsters, and no one has really updated that much about them. So I'm going to try to make one of my own. In this case, I'm going to start with the Nat 2s, and we'll go all the way to the Nat 5s. So it'll be a pretty long series. I'll only be doing the fire nat 2s and water nat 2s today, and then we'll see what we can do from that. Alright, so let's get started. So Kogmaw is a attack type unit. At 6-star max he has 648 attack, which is pretty low, and 7740 HP, which is low as well. First skill has 370% multiplier, which increases attack speed for 2 turns if you crit. However, none of his other skills scale with speed, so this is like an added stat. Doesn't really do much. Second skill has a 50% increased crit rate. That skill has a 520 base percent multiplier, and I guess it can do some like okay damage, but since his base attack is so low, it really doesn't do that much. And finally, third skill puts a dot, armor breaks, and then stuns if you crit. So this one has a 720% multiplier, and pretty much if you really want to use him, you would probably put something like Violent Blade or something, or Violent Will. It doesn't really matter, but I really strongly suggest not using him because in my opinion he is food. However, he is fusion fodder, so yeah. Next up is Tatsu, the fire fairy. So this is a pretty interesting monster as her third skill is unique, but let's go through the first 2 skills first. The first one has a chance of glancing and has a 360% multiplier. Second one puts a 3-turn dot and has a 460% multiplier. And finally, third skill, basically what it does is if the opponent has dots on them, you'll detonate the dots, so each dot ticks for 5% of their max HP, and for every dot ticked, it's 50% increased damage for the attack. So the skill itself has a base of 580 attack, a percent multiplier, but the practical uses of this skill I don't think is very high, even though this pixie has 736 base attack, which is like pretty decent for a nat 2, and 6750 HP, which is pretty low. But if you want to use her, you have to build her a nuker, something like Violent Will, again, attack or damage attack. The reasoning behind not like thinking this one's worth it is that if you use like Nat 4 and Nat 5 nukers, you pretty much just kill them the first turn. All you need, all the setup you need is a Calli, right? This one you require to put dots on the opponent plus armor break. So, and it's a single target. So let's say this is a AoE, then I would actually think about her potential. But this is a single target, so the best you can do is take out one unit, which like pretty much like a well-runed Susano can do as well with only armor break, speed buff, and attack buff, which is a lot easier to accomplish than multiple dots. So in my opinion, she is not worth it, and she is food. Next up is Tantra, the fire Getty. So the fire Getty has a base of 8895 HP at 6-star max. However, his first scales with attack, second skill with HP, and both have pretty low scaling. And the third skill pretty much does, okay, so for the first is slow, second also slows, and third has shield that is 50% of your max HP, which like you get a heal over time. You get 15% heal per turn. In my opinion, he's definitely gonna be built tank. The problem is, in my opinion, tanks have to do something than just stand there and tank, if that makes any sense. Like, he doesn't provide anything other than slows, which I don't think is enough to warrant him a spot anywhere. So in my opinion, he is food. Next up, oh, Seek. Okay, so Seek has a 360% multiplier on the first skill, which kind of like has a vampire set effect. Second skill does a very decent amount of damage at a 740% multiplier. And third skill is attack buff and crit buff for 3 turns. This is a first monster that is actually pretty decent. First of all, he has an 823 base attack at 6-star max, which is really like probably the highest for all Nat 2s. I'm not exactly sure, but I believe so. And the base HP is obviously going to be low, it's at 6,255. However, the crit rate buff and attack buff for 3 turns is very valuable. And there are teams that run Lucian with him and they get pretty successful. So what you want to do is ruin this monster. Like if you're gonna use it with a Chloe, then all you need to do is make it faster than your Lucians, and then Chloe, Lucian, Seek. But this team cannot fight any buff removal, so there's another way to run your team, which is Bernard, Seek, Lucian. But in that case, your Lucians have to be fast, so your Seek has to be 1 speed faster or a few speed faster. And in that case, you probably want to run speed crit damage attack, swift blade or something. Whereas in the Chloe situation, you can just run like fatal, rage, and attack crit damage attack. Okay. Next up is Osha. So the Fire Warbear is, unlike Tantra, has some potential in his kit. So first of all his skills scale with HP. The first one is 15% of your max HP. Second one is 20% of your max HP as an AoE. Plus it decreases attack power. And finally the third skill provokes all enemies and has a 3-turn counter attack. So basically this monster has a 9,885 base HP at 6-star max, which is low for a tank, but still at a decent amount. It's like nothing that low. It's like decent. So both of his skills skill with HP, and third skill provokes with a counter attack. So in my opinion, how to ruin him would be Despair. First of all, he has an AoE. Second of all, if he counters, then you kind of have a chance to revenge and then stun the opponent. It's like this kind of like the same idea as Wind Monkey, but not that much. You don't want to go violent on him because then he'll get rid of his counter buff really fast. So in my opinion, the way to build him is something like Despair, Endure, Despair Shield, Despair Will, triple HP. Next up is Brevis. Okay, so this monster, when I first started the game, I fell into this noob trap and I made him a 4-star. Well, in the early game, making a 4-star is a lot of effort as well, so especially when you level it from 2-star level 1. So what happens is, what happened was I thought the crit damage is increased by 50% meant that, let's say I would do 20k on target, but actually no, it did 30k. But that's actually not the case. What this actually means is that you pretty much have an extra rage set plus 10% more crit damage. That's all there is. So don't overcomplicate things. This monster has a base of 637 attack, which is horrendous at 6-star max, and 7,740 base HP, which is not high at all either. So first skill does a dot if you crit, 360% multiplier. Second skill has a 410% multiplier, which scales with max HP. Nothing that special at all, so he's food. Next up is Kukula. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so we're just gonna go with that. First skill has a 370% multiplier, second skill has a 450%, which lands a dot. And finally, third one, Rapidity is the exact same skill as Bernard, the Wind Griffin. And The bad thing about him is that he has a really low base speed of 93, and Bernard has 111, and Bernard is farmable. So like there's pretty much never going to be a practical use for this monster, because first of all he has a really low base speed. Second of all, his first two skills does not do as much as Bernard's. Bernard has attack buff and armor break and speed scaling on the first skill, so this one's food. Colleen. Okay, so Colleen is, in my opinion, the most OP Nat 2 at the moment in the game. Maybe along with Tark, but I think Colleen helps progression a lot more, while Tark is more of a you decrease your speed, your time for clearing dungeons. So the first skill has a attack debuff for 2 turns, and second skill has a recover for 2 turns, and third skill does 25% of AoE heal of HP of all allies and increase attack power for 3 turns. So pretty much she's a beast for Necro, she's a beast for Raid. And for people who just passed Dragons and spent like 2 months in there and don't know how to progress, just build Colleen. She's just so good there. Not only does she provide so many important debuffs, 3-turn attack buff and a heal, her hits are also multi-hit, so it's really good for Necro. So yeah, please build her. Also, she has a really high base HP at 6-star max as well. Plus 106 base speed is not bad either. So she is good, okay? Finally, for the last one of fire is Lala. I'm just gonna straight out say that she's food. First of all, her first skill does nothing except increase her own attack bar by 30%. Second skill is a single target cleanse and single target heal. With yourself, I guess. Doesn't really matter. And last skill is removes up to 6 harmful effects on an ally. Pretty much, third skill is a single target cleanse. So when would the opponent land 6 debuffs on you in the first place? In PvP, you're just going to use like 1 armor break and the opponent is pretty much dead. So she's just not worth it. None of her skill sets make sense even if put together. So yeah, she's food. Okay, so now we venture on to the water nat 2s. We'll start with the water imp. First skill again is 370% multiplier. Second skill freezes enemy for 1 turn with a 480% multiplier. And third skill, it's 3 dots if you crit all 3 times, and it added together is 800% multiplier. So he has a base of 736 attack and 5065 HP at 6-star max. He used to be a thing back when Giants was not changed yet, and people would run like 4 imps to manual Giants. But now that has changed, pretty much no one uses him. He's not that good at all, even though his third has a pretty decent multiplier. It lands dots, but then he's extremely squishy and requires setup to work. So he is food. Next up is Casey. Casey, first skill is a 360% multiplier. Second skill is a 210% multiplier, AoE slow. And third is pretty much if you hit 1 target, it will do a lot of damage. However, if your attacks spread out and hit multiple targets, you won't be doing any damage. So why would you make a monster that is only good against 1 target? It doesn't make any sense, because you want to kill the opponent's team, not randomly, and just actually kill them, right? So it doesn't make sense to build her for this niche skill. Even worse than the fire pixies, because that one at least has like some value to it. This one pretty much is completely useless. Next up is Kunda. Okay, so Kunda's first skill again is a 2-hit with slow. Second skill has a stun. So third skill is grants immunity. to all harmful effects for 3 turns and reflects 30% of damage back to the enemy. Okay, so this one's a self-cleanse. Okay, so this one has a pretty okay multiplier, but it's not like extremely high. And this one's attack based. So for a tank, in my opinion, he's a little bit better than the fire one. At least he has immunity and damage reflection. So let's say you're going against a wind monkey and you really don't have any water tank, and then you can put him on, buff immunity, the monkey will start killing himself and will never land armor break on you. And you can provide some stuns and slopes for your opponents. However, I still don't recommend building him because there are just so many better options out there that is not him. Okay, so next up is Tark. Tark's first skill is 360% multiplier, and second skill is your speed plus 140 divided by 0.5. So let's say you have 150 speed, then you will be 150 plus 140 equals 290 divided by 0.5 is 580. So it's like a 580 multiplier if you are 150 speed. Let's say you're 200 speed. What happens if you're 200 speed is that your 200 plus 140 equals 340 divided by 0.5 is 680. So his second skill will have a 680 multiplier. In other words, speed scaling is really OP, and this one does a lot of damage. Third skill is where he makes the dungeons run extremely fast. So first of all, his third skill has a 410 base multiplier. That's not that bad. The thing is, he groups up with 2 other monsters, so 2 other monsters will all use their first skill. So let's say you team up the Galleon and a Theomars. What happens is the Galleon can land armor break and Theomars can land the dot. And on top of all that, the monsters who get group upped will have -1 cooldown reduction. That's what makes this monster extremely good for speed clearing, because when you use him, you can reduce other monsters' cooltime, and then you do a lot of damage on your own as well. So if you want to build him, you would build him Swift Blade for PvE. I don't see him as a PvP monster, so something like Swift Blade or Violent Blade, or even like Blade Energy Nemesis or Blade Revenge, something. It doesn't matter. I think speed crit damage attack is the best build for him, so yeah. Oh, I forgot to talk about the first 3 monsters build. So this one will be something like Rage Will, attack crit damage attack. This one will be something like Despair because 2 AoEs, so something like Despair, speed crit damage attack or something. This one, I don't really know about this one. You definitely don't ruin him violent because you want to keep your buff on as much as possible. Maybe Swift so that you can get your immunity up first turn. Swift Nemesis or Swift Revenge. Triple HP is my take on this monster. Okay. Next up is the Haranos. So the water elemental, the first 2 skills are the exact same as Brevis, which is nothing special. And finally, third skill creates a shield that is 100% of your max HP for 3 turns. Pretty much, it's like a even worse version of the fire one, because how are you supposed to build this monster? Are you supposed to build tank on him? But then his base stats are very abysmal at 6 star, so I don't think it's that optimal to build him tank. But then if you build him damage, he's not going to do much damage either because these 2 have pretty bad multipliers. So he's extremely food, and then just don't even bother about him. Next up is Kona Mia. Okay, this one's a pretty strong monster, I must admit. I didn't build one, but I know that lots of people have built one and really liked it. First of all, his first skill has a chance to stun, and it's pretty decent. Second skill gives 1 ally full attack bar and attack buff for 1 turn. This is a very strong move because let's say your nuker just moved, you can give him another turn and let him move again. Or you can research yourself and then you will have heal or and cleanse, etc. This is a very strong skill. This one is an AoE cleanse and AoE heal. So where is he good at? So he's pretty decent in a beginner dragons team where your Veramos is not fast enough to solo cleanse. You can kind of bring him. And where else is he good at? He's good in raid if you don't have Lisa. I think he is pretty much the same as Dona because then again, he has a smart AI, so he won't use cleanse on cooldown, but he doesn't do anything else except that. And at least Dona brings some debuffs, so I'd say he's the same as around the same level as Dona. So how do you ruin him? I will probably ruin him Violent Endure, Speed, HP, HP. If I will have to use him in PvP, I would use Violent Will, Speed, HP, HP. Either make him extremely fast or make him kind of like slower, so that a little bit slower than your nuker, and so that your nuker can move and then he can research your nuker to move again. Okay, so next up is Kaiman. Attack scaling on first, defense scaling on second, and defense scaling on third. Third is a 1-turn freeze and 1-turn armor break. Second skill is a attack speed decrease. So pretty much there. Okay, so this is all single target, so despair is not an option, and I don't think this is very good because his scaling are on second and third are both not extremely high. It's like 300% defense, so I don't recommend him. I know for a fact that 1-turn armor break and 1-turn freeze to me on a single target is not good enough, so I would never build him. And if you have to build him and ruin him, probably something like Violent Revenge, because you want your a first skill attack debuff on. Yeah, that's about it. I don't think he's good for anything else. Defense, 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 or speed defense, defense, or speed defense HP, something like that. Next up is Cicero. Okay, so first of all, he has a 582 base attack, and at 6-star max. First skill is same as Colleen, 2-turn attack debuff. Second skill is same as Colleen, 2-turn what is that thing called? 2-turn unrecoverable. And third skill is attack all enemies 3 times with Arctic Frost. Each attack has 50% chance to decrease attack speed for 2 turns. So it's like an AoE 2-turn attack speed decrease. That's like not very good. Colleen's good because she has a 3-turn attack buff, but this one's just not that good. You can argue that she's decent in Necro, but then like her base attack is so abysmal that she won't do any damage, and plus her first 2 skills overlap with Colleen's too much, and you're pretty much bound to take Colleen with you, so she is food. Okay, so we're nearly done. We have 3 left. Bear with me. Lulu is a water howl. First skill, as with all howls, increases their attack by 30% every time they attack. Second skill is in single target heal and cleanse, 20% HP, nothing special. Third skill is remove 2 harmful effects of all allies, and so it's like an AoE cleanse and AoE heal. So the only thing that she has over Kona Mia is that she kind of heals a bit more, but Kona just provides so much other utilities that she cannot. So pretty much she's a strictly worse Kona. If you have to ruin her for early game, bring her to 4-star and don't bother with her after that. You can ruin her like triple energy, speed, HP, and yeah, she's not that good of a monster. Next up is Huga. Okay, so Huga has a base attack of 758 at 6-star max. His passive is increased crit rate by 15% and crit damage by 30%. Well, his first skill is a 370% multiplier, and second skill is a 620%. For each crit, you increase your attack by 15%. It sounds good on paper, but when you think about it, he actually brings nothing. He's not self-buffing. His dot is like really low, percent chance to land, and then he doesn't provide armor break, attack buff, or anything. He just does a little bit of damage. 758 attack is nothing special either compared to the pretty OP Nat 4s and Nat 5s. So like probably like a Lapis would do more damage than him. That's what I think. So yeah. Food. Finally, Alan. Okay, we're finally done. Attack. So armor break on first skill, taunt on second skill, and both of these skills are pretty decent. However, the Dark Vagabond has these same two skills, and it won't glance against wind. Plus, this one a Nat 2, so it has a little bit lower base HP than the Nat 3 counterpart. And last skill is when your HP is lower than 30%, damage received is reduced to 50%. So in order for this passive to proc, you need to have lower than 30% HP. And or else, if you're higher than 30% HP, this passive is like it does not exist. So you have two skills. So in my opinion, this one's food, and please don't build him. He's not good at all. He might be a little bit annoying in TOA hard stages, but that's about it. Not even, because you can just dot them to death, and dots don't get reduced by the passive. So yeah, tomorrow we'll be doing wind, light, and dark so that we can kind of catch up a bit with our progression. And this is all we have for today. Thanks guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.